Howdy everybody in YouTube land. Welcome to part 3 and hopefully the finale of the IntelliStar 1 repair restoration series. So, if you remember from the last video, we left off where this power supply exploded. Well, I don't remember if I showed it in the previous video or not, but the reason why it happened is, if you recall, I had the board installed in this way. Well, there is a pin 1 indicator right here, pin 1, and if you look on the power supply, pin 1 is on. Let's see if I can't pull it up here. Pin 1 is right there in that corner. So if pin 1 is on the left hand side, that means it has to be installed this way, not this way. Dope. So that's why it exploded. That's why it blew up. And that makes a lot of sense. So anyways, now that we have figured out the mistake, we can correct it. So these transistors are 460Ps, which are rated, I think, at 20 amps at 500 volts. Well, I have these in my collection, which are also rated. Let's see if I can get it to focus. 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 There we go. 20 amps at 500 volts. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these to replace the ones that are on there, because these will work in their place. They're from a different manufacturer, and I got a bunch of these on hand because somewhere around 2005, 2006, I was actually restoring in-focus projector power supplies, so I have a lot of these on hand. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and change those out, but on top of that, there's a strong likelihood I fried this chip. Well, unfortunately, this chip here is no longer available, the 4824s, and they're stupid expensive. So I ordered a pair of them from eBay. There's an eBay seller that has them. There's a pile of them in China, but the problem with China, you don't know what you're getting, you know. But fortunately for these are used, so I have to hopefully go with the flow here, and they're good. So that will replace that, because chances are I killed it. So we'll put one of these in here, we'll pull that one out, and then we're going to change these two, replace the fuse, which I think I have one. I may have forgotten. I'll have to see. And that should fix my problem, I hope. So this is a lesson to be learned when you're rebuilding these power supplies. Make sure that you put the module in correctly, because in this case it can go in either way, but it's only going to work one way. The other way, it's going to explode, as we saw. Alright, let's get that done. Alright, I have the new chip installed, and I replaced that out of good measure, because if I put it in backwards, the chances are I killed it. I didn't want to take a chance and blow out another set of MOSFETs. Got the new MOSFETs installed. I checked all the other components on this board, the transistors, the diodes, all that stuff actually was good. I didn't kill anything additional. All the resistors appear to be good. And also down here, I was checking the diodes and other things in this general vicinity, and it's all good. So it's a very minimalistic design. And this is all part of the power factor correction circuitry, the boost converter, because the actual MOSFETs, I was looking at this a little more, the actual MOSFETs that drive the power supply are on this heatsink here. So this is only for the boost converter for power factor correction. So that's all this chip is actually doing. Not a big deal. So now we're going to go ahead and get this together. I have a fuse here, and I don't think I have any on hand. That is a 10 amp. So I'm going to need to see if I can't find a 10 amp fuse. I don't think I have them. So let's see. Do I have a 10 amp fuse? Move all my crap out of the way here. There's my tripod rig. Fragile. There we go. What do we have here? Here's some fuses. 250 volt what? I don't know what they are because I don't know if I have any tinning. I need to buy a fuse kit because I'm constantly running into this problem. I think that's the only fuses I have. I think that's the only fuses I have. So let's see what's in here. Fragile. Handle with care. Yeah, probably. That might be a good idea. If I can actually get them out with a single hand, that would be wonderful. Alright, what are these? These are 2 amp. That is not going to work. 250 volt, 2 amp. Nope. So I'm going to have to get a fuse. This is not going to work without a fuse. So this is a 2 amp. I need a fuse kit. Alright, so I ordered the chips, which is, I put the other chip back in here. The bad one's over here. Potentially bad. It's gonna be bad. Yeah, dang it, I need fuses. Alright, well, I'm gonna need to go find a fuse. Well, I guess for now I can start putting it back together, and then I'm gonna need to find a fuse. Alright, we're back. After a quick trip to Radio Shack, I went and got fuses. Actually, no, I'm just kidding. We bought out Radio Shack's inventory, several years ago when they were going bankrupt. So we've got a pile of stuff at the shop. I need a 10 amp. This is 125 volt. I need a 250 volt, but I think this is going to work just fine because I'm not using I'm not going to use this on 240 volt mains, just 120 volt mains. So the 125 volt should be okay. And if there's a power surge, it'll just pop the fuse, which is fine. I'd rather pop the fuse than blow up the whole power supply. And I got a 15 amp one here. These are the only two I had on hand. I got piles and piles of fuses, but these are the only ones I had readily available at the shop. So I will use this one, and I think I've already used one once because I'm missing one. I'll use that one. We'll put it on this board, and we're gonna go ahead and get this thing put back together, and we're gonna try this again, and let's hope it doesn't explode into a ball of flames in my face like it did this last time around. So wish me luck. Alright, a few dead parts later and the new parts put in, it's all put back together, so we can only hope that it's not going to blow up in 1,000 pieces in my face. So alright, let's get this done and make sure everything's good. Alright, now if you remember from the previous video, we had to take the power supply out of here, or the power supply cage out, so we can get the other power supply in there for testing to make sure this system actually worked. So yeah, we got to put all that back together, so hopefully everything goes well. It should, but never know. Power supply blew up once, it could blow up again, so let's cross our fingers and hope that it doesn't blow up again. Alright, see if we can't catch another explosion on camera. I've got the analog card out of this thing already, but that doesn't matter for what we're doing here. We're just going to test it. Everything's all anchored back in. So at this point, it's just a matter of sliding the power supply in. Hopefully it's in all the way. Should be. Okay. Man, I'm scared. Is it going to explode or is it going to work? Now's the question. Yes. Okay. Fixed it. Power supply now operates. Good enough. Alright, so Now I have a lot more confidence. So, word to the wise, make sure you reinstall the modules in properly or it might go boom. So, anyways, next thing we got to tackle on our list, actually there's a couple things, but the next thing on our list is I need to get the chip reinstalled back into this thunderstorm card because the one I've been testing with does not belong to me, and I'm going to be shipping it back to the original owner. So I'm going to do that, get it out of the way, and I think we should be good at that point. But for now, let's move on to the thunderstorm board. Alright, now that we got the power supply out of the way, now we need to take a look at this motherboard. Now I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit. So the machine that had the lightning damaged analog board that we did the repair on, this motherboard came from that same machine, and this motherboard died a long time ago. This is one that I actually recapped, and it worked for a little bit until it just quit. Now I believe what this does is it turns on and right back off, or maybe it doesn't turn on anymore at all. I don't remember what the exact story is on this board. So this is the original board. He did buy a replacement Pentium 4 board, and the machine works fine, but this is the original board. So we need to see if we can't get it working again, because these black D865 PERL boards are just, you can't find them. And the reason why is these were OEM, I'm pretty sure. And you can see where the TWC's sticker used to be. But anyways, so there's a couple things that could happen to this. We've got to troubleshoot this board and figure out what went on with it. There's a couple of things that happens to these, and one, these chips here can go bad, or these MOSFETs can go bad. So I think what we should do is just do a dry check of these MOSFETs and see if any of those are shorted. At least that's what my next step is going to be, is just to dry check those and see if that could be our fault with what happened to this board. So I checked the MOSFETs down here. I checked the two there, or checked one here, checked the two there, a couple over there. I'm not seeing anything shorted. So I guess at this point it's just a matter of getting the power supply plugged in and getting it hooked up and see what in the world happens. I don't have any RAM or anything in here, but yep, it just turns on and right back off. So alrighty then, so we know it turns on and shuts right back down. So that's the fault that this board has. It just turns on and right back off. So I bet if I unplug this and let it drain, see what it does again here. I need to move this around so I can actually do this single-handedly. There, that'll make it easier. Yeah, it just turns on and right back off. So, alright, let's do the obvious. Pull the CMOS battery. Make sure that it's not a problem anymore. Alright, let's see, there should be a jumper here. See, clear CMOS, 1, 2 normal, 2 and 3 clear. What's the jumper? J6, J3. Where is that? Alright, hang on. Let me grab a flashlight here because I can't see nothing. See, that's J7H2. No, that's not it. Mode config. J7H2, normal config. Okay. So where is J6, J3? Where are you? Not that one. So, yep, looks like one of the tabs is gone. Well, we only going to use 2 of the 4 RAM slots anyways. That's not a big deal. So, channel A, dim 0. Alright, so where is that jumper? That one's for that one. I know you're around here somewhere. Audio config. So I'm looking for J6J3. So J6J3 is... That's J7J3. It's J7H2 BIOS config. What if? I don't think that matters. Let's just do this. See what the hell happens. Nope. That's not it. Man, I need to clear CMOS. I'm not sure where that is. Clear CMOS. Where are you? There's the 2 SATA plugs. Alright, well, let's try. I wonder if the ACPI manager is bad. I gotta figure out, I gotta start looking up data sheets on these chips to figure out which chip does what. Because all it takes is just that one to be bad and cause this whole mess. Alright, there's my audio configs, which I don't need. Looking for more blue jumpers. I see this one. I see these 2. But I wonder, So those are good. Yeah, I'm not seeing any come out. Nothing's really standing out right now. Alright, well, I think what I want to do next... I wonder if it's the power supply shutting down or if it's the board shutting down. And an easy way to tell that is there is a 5-volt standby and a power on. So what I can actually do, this green wire should be standby. What I can actually do here is I can jump that out. And I'll tell you how we're going to do that is by using this wire here. So I'm going to plug the power in. It's going to come on and it's going to shut right back off. But in theory, if it's not a power supply crowbar situation, in theory, if I put the wire between ground, well, as soon as I flatten this wire out, because it's a nightmare right now. So if I put this guy in ground, so that is now shoved in the ground pin, and I put this guy here, stays on. But we get no post. Alright, so it's on. Not getting hot. Not getting hot. So what I'm doing right now is I'm feeling... Actually, what I should do... Here's what I should do. I need to see if I'm getting V core. Because... So I'm using that as a ground. So, in theory, I should get V core. Yeah, there we go. I've got no V core. I want to make sure it's an actual good ground, so let's just put it there. And then let's try this again. 0.4 volts. Maybe. Got nothing on the drain though. I got nothing there. Nothing there. Alright, so yeah, we've got we've got no voltage coming out of the V-core regulator, so that means that's getting warm. That's not. Actually, here's what I want to do. This is net burst pinion 4, so in theory, that should get hot. So I think what I want to do is feel that, see if it gets hot, which I don't think it's going to because, oh, you know what? You know what would be a really good idea right now? I think it would help if I plug the power in. Just saying. Yeah. Okay. Now we get a beep. Let's see. Gotta plug the power in. Alright, let's move that jumper. And let's see what happens now. Okay. Alright, that makes sense. It's sensing the voltage coming out of that. I don't know which one. I have to pull up the manual. I don't know which one of these is which, so let's let the power supply discharge. Maybe just do this real quick. But yep, that pinion 4 connector, P4 connector, would definitely help to be plugged in. I'm wondering why I got no V core. Well, there you go. Yep. Alright. Okie dokie then. So let me get some RAM in here. Let's get a video card in here and let's see what the hell happens. I got a stick of RAM in here and I got a video card in here. What the hell happens? Stays on. Yeah, okay. So this motherboard's actually working. Okay. So now that we have the power supply fixed, thank the Lord on that one, because that was a pretty bad mistake. What I want to do now is start taking a look at this thunderstorm card. Now, the motherboard I had earlier in the video, I can't find a fault with it. It was sent to me turning on, not off, and I don't know. So I put it aside for now. What I want to do is get this put back together because there was nothing wrong with this card. I had to, if you remember from our previous video, I had to remove the firmware IC so I can fix another thunderstorm card because this card is very critical to the operation of how this machine works. The machine will not run without this card. There's a way to make it work without this card, but it won't work properly because the time codes that's needed to display the products come from this card. So yeah, you can't, there's not a whole lot we can do about that. So what I want to do is I want to get the chip put back on this card, and I remember I put it away so nothing would happen to it. And is this it? Yes, this is it. So this is a NOR flash, which is not OR. And it is a, let's see, what is this? This is an AM29LV033. Don't know if you can see that or not, but that's what that chip is. So, now, it's important, if you have to remove this chip for anything, that you clean up the solder, of course, but you have to put the chip back in the right, orientation. There's a circle here that indicates pin 1. Well, there's a circle on the board, a dot on the screen print that indicates pin 1, so you gotta make sure to put that in there right. Anyways, for now, what we're going to do is warm up the soldering iron, and then we're going to get our handy dandy flux out, and we're going to flux the pins here so the solder will flow in properly. And since I already cleaned this board up, there's really no solder left behind on this board, so I'm not going to be able to use, say, the heat gun and flow this thing back into place because there's no solder left. So I'm going to have to hand solder that and double check it under the magnifier to make sure everything looks good. Alright, IC is now in place. It's just a matter of lining it up properly. So I've got to get in here to make sure it is properly lined up and not going to cause me a problem. And my hands shake a little bit, so not really a lot, but trying to get it exactly right because I have to hand solder this thing and I don't want to screw up because these are fun and these cards are nearly unobtainium. So if I screw this up, I'm going to cry because you're not going to find another one. But on top of that, I sacrificed this one to begin with, knowing well that I could potentially damage the card because, well, I mean, what are friends for? So I worked on his card, and, well, his system is running again thanks to my sacrifice. So it's okay though because, well, I know how to work on this stuff. So we're gonna. I gotta get the fan hooked up because this is bad. Tacking it in place. That's the important thing, is to tack it in place. Make sure it does not move. And I'm going to drag solder it because I can always clean the solder up with the braid. That's it. That's all there is to it. Let's come over here, do the same thing. And then again, I can always come back over with the desoldering braid to make sure everything's good. Alright, so now let's do a quick inspection. And yep, I gotta clean it up. That side actually went pretty well. I only got these 3 pins I have to clean. The other side, different story. So, well, again, be liberal on the flux. I mean, you can always clean the flux up later with the, flux remover can. I got stuff I have over here. You can't see it, it's off the screen, but we're gonna get this guy in place. And hopefully this card just comes right back online, which it should. There shouldn't be any faults with the card because I'm pretty sure the card worked prior. But you never know. When you're performing organ transplants on a card, you just never know if it's going to live. So, yeah, there's always that. Alright, that cleaned up a lot better. Alright. Desoldering braid. This stuff is almost vital when working on surface mount components, especially things with half a mil pin pitches. So there's always that. Okay, that's done on that side. This side. So again, now that I have the solder removed, let's take this and what I like to do is I like to whisk the solder joints to make sure the solder's flowing evenly, because this might undo everything you just did. So I always like whisking my solder joints afterwards to make sure that everything is in place. Alright, that looks good. Pretty sure we're going to be good with that. So, yeah, that's... I don't see any shorts or bridges. Well, maybe here. I mean, most people have magnifiers to do this, but for me it's easier just to eyeball it. I guess because I have good up-close vision. Alright. It's all good. Alright. Now, let's grab this static electrical nightmare. Flux cleaner. Alright, that means in theory that should be all cleaned and ready to go. And it's actually pretty dang straight. Yeah, I have a lot of experience working with components like this, so for me it's real easy to do. Alright. Now, let's take a look. Make sure we're all kosher and there's no shorts between pins. I don't see any. Everything looks good. See? All good. That's all there is to it. Although it takes some experience to do this, but it's all good. So that chip is now back in place. And you know what? Can you guess what I just did? If you remember earlier in the video, that dot is pin 1 and pin 1 is supposed to be over there. So I have to fix that. But you know what? This whole series has been uncut. It shows the mistakes even that I can make. So it's okay. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna fix that. But the point of it is, I'm gonna leave this in the video so you can see the technique on how this is done. But I'm gonna pause this video so I can remove this and put it back in the right way. Alright, so now I got the chip put in the correct way. There. Hey, pin 1 is now where pin 1 is supposed to be. So, alright, it's all good now. So, now that that's out of the way, that's about the only thing you need to pay attention to on these cards. The next thing is these BNC jacks are notorious for the solder joints to break. So while this thing was hot, I went ahead and added some fresh solder here and the 2 terminals there, so because these break loose and then you get intermittent problems. So you got to keep that in mind too when you're working on one of these. But the next thing I got to do is I got to put the heatsink back on here. That is a 7410 PowerPC, which I believe is an Altavec G4, like what's used on an iMac G4 or something like that, PowerBook G4. But go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and do that. I do want to double check the solder joints where the NAND is, or the NOR chip. Make sure all that's good. It appears to be. So yeah, it appears to be. So we're gonna go ahead and get the heatsink put back on here and all that, and get that out of the way, and then we're gonna move on to the next thing. Alright, so the heatsink that goes on here is this weird funky little screw-on type I've never seen before. So you have this mount and then you have the heatsink that screws onto it. So for a little bit of self-assurance, we're going to put a little bit of thermal compound in here. I had one of these that was open already, but I lost the actual thermal compound. I don't know what I did with it. Last time I used it was, well, on another IS-1. So, alright, good enough. We're going to go ahead and just get a little tiny bit on here. Nothing out of the ordinary. So that is not going to work because this is not, there we go, not mixed right. It's kind of separated a little bit. Now this isn't Arctic Silver. I don't know where my Arctic Silver went. This is Arctic White. So, don't need much, just a little bit. Don't need much, because as I anchor that down, it's going to squish it out a little bit. So there we go, that's out of the way. Grab that. Now, this, be careful because these break off. I had it happen. So, and then if you do that, you're hosed. It's JB Weld time. So what we're going to do is we're going to carefully slide that over the CPU, and then screw this guy in place. Squeaky. Assuming I can actually get it threaded right. Let's see. Of course, it's smearing the grease all over the place. Nope. The wires getting wrapped around is making it a little awkward. There we go. And it doesn't need to be super tight either because you're going to run into problems with snapping the clips off. Make sure it's in centered. It is for the most part. Tighten it up like so. Alright, that's good enough. Now the next thing is plugging that in, which those three are connected the same, which is ground, so it goes here. Good enough. That is now seated in place. Alright. Put the sodium memory in, which is just PC133 SD RAM, nothing special. Alright, that card is now put together and we can finally move on to the next thing, which is the faceplate, which we'll get to that here in a second. Okay, so the next thing on our list is we need to tackle this faceplate because my OCD is pretty wild right now. So when I picked this unit up, it's got all this residue all over it and it's got this tag on it, and these were very common in 2016, 2017 when the majority of these were sold. So that's got to come off of there. I want to try to clean this up a little bit and get all this residue off. So that is the next part of this episode, is to get that done. I got a few products over here. I got Goo Gone, some 409, Magic Eraser, and this microfiber cloth I'm going to use to at least clean it up first. I don't want to go too aggressive on it because I don't want to rub through the powder coat, but I do need to get this to soak so I can peel it off, which actually I don't even need to. Hell, it just came right off. So there we go. So let's go ahead and I gotta get some Goo Gone on there, I think. But first, let's try some 409, let it sit for a second. Let's see if I can't get some of this cleaned off. And yeah, let's clean some of that off. And hopefully we can get that taken care of. So let's see if we can't power through this. And Hopefully. Whoop! That must have got stuck. Alright, let's see. It's coming off. Nothing. Actually, it's not really that bad. I probably don't even need to use the Goo Gone, really. It's coming off. Let's take a look. Let's try this. Squeaky! Yeah, it's not really. I don't want to cut through. Yeah, see, it's taking off the powder coat. I can't do that. Alright, let's go back to what I was doing. It's taking off the powder coat, so I can't. Let's try. Let's not try that method. So, but everything else seems to be. It's coming up pretty good. That's a little stubborn, but it is coming off. Alright, got that all off of there. I got some crap here that's gonna come off. That's pretty rough too, so I'm gonna have to probably let that soak a little bit. And let's get that. Let's get all that guy off of there. You get the idea. Let's get that done. Alrighty then, now it's all clean. I mean, that came out pretty dang good, I think. Now, it started to go through the powder coat a tiny bit, so do not use a magic eraser on powder coating. That's a pretty bad idea. But I was able to get it all clean. It actually looks pretty good, and even the emblem itself came out pretty clean too. So, yeah. This side though is a little bit dinged up, but that's on the inside. You can't really see it anyways, but who cares? Yeah, it's all good now. So that's clean, looks better. So I can go ahead and put that back on the machine. But before we do that, we got to get that machine put back together. Now that we got the power supply fixed, we have the chip put back into the Thunderstorm digital board. Really, at this point, it's all about final assembly and getting it back together. So let's go ahead and get that back together and get all this stuff out of the way, and then we're going to go ahead and film that, I suppose. I mean, we're reaching the end of this project, and it's been a fun one. We've got a few more coming in the works. I have a WeatherStar 3000 that I got to do a repair on, and I want to do an overview video on that, and I got some other things that are coming up in the works, but this is going to wrap this video up. Let's go ahead and get that thing put together, and then we're going to test everything, make sure everything still works. At this point, really, it's pretty much just about getting this thing put together. So, I think what I want to do, start getting the cards put in. I'm trying to get this cardboard box stabilized that my tripod is sitting on. So, yeah, now it's time to get this thing put back together. I guess at this point, let's just go ahead and start getting the cards put back in here. Which luckily isn't much. So let's get the Thunderstorm card back out of the way here. We get all of these over here. Let's see. Set this to the side. Alright, graphics card. I have my analog board, which, well, a couple things I got to do first is see the solder joints on there cracking, which I don't know if you can, but they've all got to be done first, so I have to do that before I can even go anywhere else. So graphics card's good, fans lubricated, so I can go ahead and put the video card in its slot. So that is now in its place. Let me get the soldering iron warmed up again, because I got to fix that. Now I got to go get my screws. So let me wait for that thing to warm up. Alright, so first off, I'm going to do some soldering of these BNC connectors. So that has to be done. Otherwise, I'm just going to be right back in here later. Come on, don't move on me. Alright. Now I've got to do the connections. Because if I don't do that, again, it'd be a big waste of time. I need to get new tip cleaner in my soldering iron station because I can't get the dross off the end of my tip. And that will cause you grief when working on this stuff. See, it won't clean off. Yep, time to replace that. I should have bought some of that from Heiko, but I did not. Alright, so that should do that for now. Clean all the crap off of it. So, alright, we're good there. So that's in there. I'm going to go through here. Screws, especially for the video card. Screwing that in. Alright, that's in place. Now I need the Thunderstorm digital board, which I have sitting right here. The one that we just worked on. And can't forget the slot cover. Move the SATA cable out of my way. And you got to put this on first, which goes to the rain assembly on the back, which handles all your audio and GPIO. You got to put that on first, or you'll never get that in there. So we're going to just kind of carefully set that into place, because otherwise it's going to be fun to get into, like right now. Straighten out the rear support. Get that all in its place. Come on. Getting all this lined up is fun, because there's so much going on here. Alright, that's in place. Now, do that, tightened up. Now, we need the screw for that. Alright. Thunderstorm digital cards mounted in place. Now we need to get the analog board mounted in place, which is the one that, if you remember, we replaced that chip earlier on. It's easier just to put these in here first. Actually, no, it's not. I'm going to leave those out. I'll do those last. Slot cover here. So now, just be able to slide that guy in. Again, you got to be careful so you don't drag it across the motherboard and destroy everything. So there, that's in place. Just building a PC, nothing special. The only thing special here are these cards, because these cards are practically irreplaceable. Now granted, you can buy Pentium 4 motherboards all day long today, as of the making of this video. Can't tell you 10 years from now what's going to happen, but for right now, this is what we're going to do. We can still buy them. So if this motherboard ever died, I'm thinking about picking up a spare. I mean, I've already rebuilt this board, but so, alright, right in front of my face. That's where that one is. Alright, that goes in there. Goes in there like so. Then we got to put the modem in, even though it will never ever ever be used. It's still original to the machine, so we might as well just put it in there. And need a screw for that. I got more screws. I don't know what to do with. I want to have a few spares, I'm pretty sure. Well, I already know I'm going to have a few spares. So if anyone needs any IntelliStar screws, I got plenty. Alright. Let's see. Gotta plug this in. Right here. That's all plugged in. Grab me a zip tie to tie that back up. All right, let's see. And now, support cage. Now I'm being pretty bold saying that this is going to work off the first bat here. I mean, as we've seen the course of this video, that has never been guaranteed. But I will go out on a limb saying that, hey, it's going to work just fine. Which, yeah, I can only hope. Alright. That's done. Now I gotta flip it around, and this is the most fun part about the whole adventure, is the BNC connectors that are on the back. I gotta put the washer and the nuts on all of them, and that's fun. But I'll do that later. Right now I want to make sure that we have the thunderstorm board and all that stuff works. And the way we're going to do that is, well, first I gotta go grab the hard drive, and then I gotta go grab the power cord and plug it all in. Hard drive, power cord. Now I'm not going to have any monitors or anything hooked up to it, but it doesn't matter, because if this thunderstorm boots up, you'll start getting all those red flashing lights and things, and that's how I know that the firmware is being detected in red, because otherwise that board will not do anything if it can't read the chip, because it's got all the firmware for that card on that chip. So big thing is getting it in. And then Thunderstorm's driver in FreeBSD has to initialize the card, so I know it'll boot from a hard drive when that's the case. So get this all. There we go. Fire it up. Looks like it's still starting up. Do we get any thunderstorm board action? I can't tell. Doesn't look like it. So oh wait, I see a red LED. Did it come on? No, I don't see any blinky blinkies. So maybe not. Dang. Rebooted again. Alright, well, it looks like my attempted repair of this did not go successfully. Which is par for the course in this video, but so I'm going to have to double check my work and see what we got going on. So please stand by on that. Alright, so it looked like I missed a solder joint on the NOR flash, so I just went ahead and just tacked it down for right now. I just want to see if that's going to do anything. I'm hoping so. So for now I'm just going to loosely set this card back in here, because I'm not anchoring it all down if it doesn't work. So at least that's the way I feel about it. It technically should fire up without that board connected. At least I hope. We're gonna find out. Where's my plug? Where are you? Oh, you're back here. All right. Well, let's hope for the best. Getting a double beep, which I don't remember it doing that before. Maybe it did. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Alright, that's better. That's what it was. I missed a solder joint. Whew. Thank God for that. Thank God it was something simple. Alright, so at this point I just need to put this back together. You know, let's get the lid on it. Let's get it all put back together and get a monitor hooked up here and make sure everything runs and that we have full operation of it. And once we get to that point, I think we're done with this. We can finally wrap this project up because I got the drive in here. The power supply has been repaired. It's been recapped, blown up, and then repaired, all in this course of 3 videos. And then that was now fixed, and then that's been worked on. Anyways, a lot of content in this video, but I think we're going to be good. So let me get this thing put back together. Alright, I think we're ready to go. Everything's all hooked up. I got the screws in for the faceplate, so they're all in there now. Now I just got this on. Now I just gotta get the power plug in. Hopefully it works. There we go. That's why I got a double beep. I didn't have the VGA plugged in. Not exactly quiet either. Oh, file system repair. Good old school file systems. Alright, we got video. Let's see. Let's make sure we can run a presentation. It's still starting up. There we go. Alright. Switch this guy over. Make sure we still have video coming through. We do. Run presentation. There we go. So we're good. Awesome. IntelliStar 1 fully restored. Nah, I need some powder coating, but that's not a big deal. That's manageable. So yeah, I mean, I think that's going to conclude this video. Everything seems to be operating normally now. The power supply has been repaired, thank God. So yeah, I think we're good. I think we are good. That is going to conclude the IntelliStar video repair series here, because we're fully operational. I'm not going to show data and all that stuff going into it because that's beyond the scope of this video, but I just wanted to show that how to restore this hardware, the repair, and the process going through it, and hopefully you all had a little bit of fun watching. I have a Discord server. The link to join that Discord server is below in the video description. Otherwise, if you have a comment, please feel free to leave one, and thank you for watching. Until next time.